Welcome to the Battle of Virtues. Today is Diligence versus Patience. Make sure that you stay tuned and locked in because this is going to be very entertaining and a deep argument.
My name is Sabrina Royer. I am a Capistrano Valley Christian senior, and I'm on cheer.
I'm Dylan Montesquieu, 2026. I play baseball, and I'm going to teach each and every one of you about patience and why it is the most important.
Today we're going to be tackling the question, which virtue is most essential for attaining the good life in today's world? There are many important parts of this question that we have been discussing in Mr. Montez's English class, and many things like the good life and what virtues are.
And the different virtues.
The virtue I'm going to be discussing today is the virtue of diligence, which in my opinion is the most important virtue for many, many reasons, which we will get into later. Because everything in life you have to be diligent for, and I think that it is the foundation for every single other virtue. But it goes much, much deeper than that, and I have many good arguments and points to make about it.
Today I'm going to be diving into patience, it's a very underrated virtue in my opinion. And I'll be talking about how it shapes our character, strengthens our faith, and helps us handle life's challenges that come our way because we need to be patient in order to solve those.
So we're going to start off by talking about our understanding of what the good life is. And like I said in the central question that we're going over today, the good life is a very important part of our English class that we've been discussing so far. And me personally, I think that the good life is having almost all of the virtues and following God and having faith in Jesus and and be like who Jesus is and just act in a way that Jesus would want us to act and do everything that reflects God. And yeah.
I agree with that. And I think the good life is centered on loving and serving God above everything else. And I think it means to follow Jesus' example of humility, compassion, and forgiveness in our daily actions. Ultimately, I think it's a life rooted in hope, trusting that eternal joy is found in God's presence both now and forever.
We're going to be taking a deeper dive on why virtues matter for human flourishing. And in the book On Reading Well, which we have been learning in English class, on page 15, it says that virtue is the habit of choosing what is good and right, despite our natural inclinations to do otherwise. And then also on page 10, it says to read well is to learn to live well. From these specific quotes from the book, we can learn that virtues are a habit, and habits are very important parts of our human life and something that everyone has, whether you think of it or not. And to have virtues as your habit, that is going to lead you to human flourishing because virtues are an important part in making who you are and how you live your life and how your heart is. The book On Reading Well has truly changed our perspectives on what a virtue is and what it means for human flourishing because usually people misinterpret what a virtue is. For instance, the virtue courage versus brave. They're two very separate things, but people tend to mix them up all the time. And I think it's very important, especially what we're going to talk about today, the differences and why they're important and which one is more important.
Yeah, I like those points. I think they're very strong, and I agree with them. I pretty much have the same stance as you, and I think virtue matters because it shapes who you become and not just what you do. It's about the process of getting there and going through challenges and struggles. And I think it just allows us to live fully and become the best version of yourself that you can be, how you live your life and how people see you. Yeah. All right, so here's where we get into it. So I chose patience because when we were doing all this, we were picking out a quote that would be relevant. I found one. It's page 192. It says, "The virtue of patience entails much more than merely waiting. The essence of patience is the willingness to endure suffering." So when I see that, before I was thinking patience is just literally waiting and being okay, when's something gonna happen? Not about having to struggle and being strong and just defending yourself. Also, like, I think patience is, it's more, obviously, it's more than just waiting for something to happen, like I just said, but it's about, like, how you wait and the attitude that you obtain while you're going through something tough and, like, not being, like, a quitter's mindset and wanting to, like, give up, but you're actually going to, like, go through it, learn from it, and make it better for yourself. And it's also about staying calm and steady when life is, like, obviously, you're going through a hardship, because everyone's going to go through a hard point in your life. Like, it's just bound to happen. Okay. And then an outside source I found about patience was, it was an article on, it was titled The Skill of Patience from the columbiametro.com. And, like, a key quote that I found from that is, it said, the final component in the definition for patience is accepting or tolerating the situation without getting angry or upset. And I thought, like, the main idea from that source was that patience is not a trait, but more of a skill that we can grow and obtain. And it's kind of like, that's like a big theme that we've been learning with, like, all the virtues and stuff. Like, it's not just about, like, getting them, but, like, obtaining them and, like, becoming really strong in them, because they're gonna help you in all your life. But patience is the most important one. And then also, this source connects to the good life, which we were talking about earlier, because happiness depends on strong relationships, which the article talks about a lot. And this source strengthens my argument because it talks about having patience to accept delays, frustrations, or suffering without being angry.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about diligence. And I said that diligence is most essential for attaining a good life because you don't start off having all the other virtues. You have to work towards them. Virtues are the pathway to the good life because they shape who you are and how you live your life. You can always perform one of the virtues once, but it takes diligence and determination to actually change making it a habit. And then using a quote from On Reading Well, on page 189, it says that anyone can raise a hand, repeat a prayer, and go forward to the altar, but only a true regenerated heart will bear the fruit of sanctification and preserve it until the end. Christians' diligence in the faith is a picture of the admonition to believers in Philippians 2:12 to work out our faith in fear and trembling. Such diligence requires care and attention, which in turn depend on the cultivation of godly desire. So I think this quote is very important because it means that you can say anything and act any way, but it really depends on your heart and how you live your life. Because bearing the fruit of sanctification means becoming more like God, which is what all the virtues are striving to do. And it's a lifelong commitment, not something just for the day. This is why diligence is so important and builds up every virtue. You can always do an act of kindness or something courageous, but it takes a certain kind of person to be truly diligent. And to live the good life, we have to live like Jesus. And a regenerated heart gives you the ability to produce the fruit. You're motivated through your inner self, not the outside worldly desires. It takes all the virtues like patience, love, humility, and so many others to even gain diligence. Diligence is a long, hard process, and to attain the good life is to truly want it. When you truly want something, you're diligent towards it. So it's not just sitting around and being patient for it. You actually have to work hard to get it. And then for my outside source, I have Aristotle, Nicomachean Ethics. And he said that virtue, then, being of two kinds, intellectual and moral, intellectual virtue is the main, owes both its birth and its growth to teaching, for which reason it requires experience and time. While moral virtue comes about as a result of habit, whence also its name is one that is formed by a slight variation from the word ethos. From this, it is also plain that none of the moral virtues arises in us by nature, for nothing that exists by nature can form a habit contrary to its nature. And then another little quote I have from him is, neither by nature then, nor contrary to nature do the habits arise in us. Rather, we are adapted by nature to receive them, and are made perfect by habit. And this shows that virtues aren't natural. You have to work for them and continue working for them your entire life. This will eventually lead us to the good life because when we change our hearts, they bear the fruit of sanctification, changing us in ways to become more like God. And when you become more like God, you're getting closer to the good life every day.
I think those are very good points, and you bring up a strong argument. I would like to ask you a question first.
Of course.
To bring this on. How do you think practicing diligence helps to build the habits you need to live a meaningful and purposeful life as humans?
Thank you for the question, Dylan. I really appreciate
No
it.
problem.
I think that diligence and habits almost go hand in hand because the only way, like, habits are built after 6 weeks, and the only way you can gain a habit is through diligence and practicing something over and over and over again. Because, like I said previously, you can do anything once and you can say whatever you want, but it really determines on how your actions are and what you're actually doing. So I think your habits are a reflection of your diligence because you only have a certain amount of habits based on how determined you are to get something done.
I really liked when you said that the virtues are the pathway to the good life because they shape who you are and how you live your life. And I remember that you talked about diligence and determination to actually change, making it a habit. So, like, are you saying that you must have diligence to take on the other virtues? And, like, also, like, if yes, like, it's a must? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I think diligence is the foundation to every single virtue. I think every virtue, because virtues are a hard thing to, like, get because it's like
Takes practice.
it takes practice, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the only way to practice that is through diligence. And like I said, I really like what you said about patience and how it forces us to make wise decisions and handle challenges better because diligence necessarily doesn't make you think through things. You're just getting it done. Rather than patience, you're sitting and waiting and being content with where you are in life rather than forcing yourself to do more than you're able to do. And I also really like what you said about that patience is the willingness to endure suffering because a lot of the times when you're diligent, doesn't matter like what you're diligent in, you're striving to do more, but patience is just being happy where you are and being content even in your suffering, and I think that's a very important thing.
Yeah. I know that you think that to get all the other virtues you need diligence, but me personally, I think you need patience because, as we were saying, to like obtain all the virtues, you need to like remain strong and tough, and it takes a lot of practice. And like I said, like endure suffering. Like that's a big thing, and that's how you're gonna obtain all the virtues because it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be like it's not instant gratification, but you're gonna have to work towards it if you really want it. It's kind of about how bad do you want it? Like, do you want to have all the virtues? Do you want to live the good life?
I agree with what you say somewhat, but I think that diligence actually grows you as a person. Patience just keeps you where you're at. Because diligence, you're actually pursuing those hard things and keep working at the same stuff. But patience, you're just waiting. You're content with where you are. So you're not growing as a person. You're just sitting there.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get at. That it's more than just waiting. It's about enduring suffering. You know.
But what if you don't have suffering?
I think everyone does. We don't live in a perfect world. Everyone at some point, like I know I have personally, like I've gone through stuff. I'm sure like most people who are going to be listening to this also have. And like I just want them to know that to be patient is more than just waiting, but it's about enduring suffering.
Yeah. So do you think patience is only enduring suffering? Like there's nothing else to patience?
No, I think there is an aspect of waiting, but it's more about like going through it and not just going through the motions, but like learning from it and how are you going to take this into the next hardship in your life? Are you just going to like sit back and like be lackadaisical about it? Or are you going to like put effort and make a change?
Yeah, but where do you think that effort comes from? Diligence. So.
Well, yeah, but obviously they go hand in hand, but patience is more important. All right, well, I want to ask you something. It's kind of like an internal thought.
Please do.
Like I think you need patience to be diligent, right? And I think patience is kind of like the backbone of diligence. I think that patience provides endurance and perspective to be diligent over the long term, helping us wait for the right results and persevere through setbacks. What do you think about that? Do you have anything to say?
I agree with that. I think that diligence like helps us move forward, but patience like keeps our minds at peace with where we're at. Yeah. But then again, I don't think you need patience in everything because what if it's the better situation to not be patient? Because I feel like patience in a way almost just holds you back rather than allowing you to move forward as a person, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's good. So, are you saying that sometimes it's bad to be patient? Are you saying there's ever a situation where it's not good to be patient, or what? Was that what you're saying, or no?
Yeah. I don't think you have to be patient every single thing, especially when it comes to diligence. Because diligence is just hard working. And sometimes you really have to push yourself. Like say like you're at a sport
Mm-hmm.
and like being patient, like waiting, like say you're like on the bench and you really want to like be put in the game, but if you're patient then you're just going to be sitting there and content with where you are, but if you're
Yeah.
diligent then you're actually going to be working really hard to go for it.
Mm-hmm. I think that, yeah, that's actually good. I think, like, yeah, diligence is good for sports, but maybe we could agree that, like, patience is good for, like, something like college applications. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. For me, I'm a little bit worried. I don't know. I'm, like, applying to a few places, but, like everything I've done over these, like, last 4 years of high school is, like, there's nothing I can go back and change, you know? Like, all I have to do is just kind of wait through and just see what's going to happen. And there's nothing really much I can do about it, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's just some things in life like you can't control the uncontrollable, and I think in that situation you kind of have to let God like provide and just trust in what God says.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
That's good. Good.
Well, Dylan, I really appreciate your very thoughtful opinions about patience, but I really disagree just because I think diligence is so much more and really helps every other virtue, because patience, I feel like patience only just helps diligence. Like I don't think patience helps with anything else. So in a way, if patience is only helping diligence, but diligence helps every other virtue, and you need to be diligent in every single virtue, then obviously it takes priority compared to patience, because because you have to be diligent in every single thing, and you have to be able to keep doing the virtues to build that habit to actually be virtuous. But patience, you're not building habits. You're just sitting there.
Yeah, well, I think patience is more important because it helps us endure challenges and trusting the process. And
Yeah, you can trust the process while you're diligent.
how?
By being diligent.
Well,
I think there's more to diligence than just the action. I think it's also your mindset.
yeah, I agree with that. I feel like these
Yeah,
two
I
go
agree.
hand in hand. What do you think about that?
I agree, actually. I think that they do too. I think you can't
Okay.
but still I think that you have to be diligent to have every other virtue, but I don't think you have to be patient to have, like, I don't think patience matters
What?
with other with other virtues.
Interesting.
Like, what virtue do you think also patience goes with?
Chastity. Because
Okay, touche.
think about that.
Touche. I agree.
What?
What? What?
Hold on.
So, for our final thoughts, I think that diligence is the most essential for attaining the good life, because, like I said previously at the start of this, is that you don't start off having all the other virtues. You have to work towards them. And then for patience?
I think patience is the most important because to endure suffering is like a big part of your life, and like I've been saying, like everywhere you go, whoever you meet, people are gonna be going through problems, and it's also about serving others and not just like because you're gonna have to help others. You know, like people are gonna go through hard things around you, so it's like how are you gonna betterment other people while also making yourself more patient?
I agree. I think in the end, after our long, wonderful discussion, I think we have come to the conclusion that you need both. You need all the virtues, actually, not just. I don't think there's one most important virtue. I think they're all important, and they all build up on each other. And that's how you attain the good life, by having all of them.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think patience and diligence, obviously, I think they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
And they're both very, very, very important for your
And
life.
then for just a final reflection on how these virtues can shape our life after high school, how do you think that patience and diligence can shape your life after high school?
I could answer this by saying that patience will help me after high school because, like, I don't know, I'm gonna be going to college. I'm gonna be like meeting new people, having to like go through like a lot of like huge changes, in my life. And like, it's going to be like, how am I going to do that? Am I going to want to give up? Am I going to want to move home? Or is it like, am I going to keep going through and be tough? What about you about diligence?
No, I agree with that. I think, especially in college, there's lots of bad influences out there, and you got to stay diligent in your schoolwork. And I think being patient with, because not everything goes your way. Like I said previously, you can't control the uncontrollable. So say you got into a college you don't really want to go to, you have to be patient and trust in God. That's what the best path is for you.
That's big, trusting God. That's what Miss Campbell tells me about. Like, when I'm talking about my application, she's like, it's just out of your hands. You got to just put it into God.
Yeah. And so we'd like to thank you guys all for listening.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this next year, Marco Ploutz, we love you. You're the GOAT.
Yeah.
And
so great.
Thank you guys for all listening to this podcast. It's amazing.
Yeah. I hope you really like our discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And let us know who won. Thank you.
Thank you. I did.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. CVCS is a Christian TK through 12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Please visit cvcs.org/podcasts to listen to the variety of shows our students produce on our campus. You can also find all of our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and others. We would also appreciate you subscribing to and leaving a review of this show and the other shows on our network in your podcast player of choice. If you have any questions or would like to reach out to us, please email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the school, this is Mr. Jasper, the executive producer of the podcast network. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more.